I brought a sketchbook. I brought pencils. I brought everything I could need. I even got a sketchbook as a gift. Long flights, long car rides, extended, uninterrupted moments like this are something to be seized. In the end, I didn't do shit. Not a single line. And initially, this kind of bugged me. I was so used to measuring my days in terms of an output mindset. What I painted, what I filmed, what I edited. Maybe you're like that too. If you're not hands-on, actively producing something, it feels like you're falling behind somehow. I was feeling like I was breaking some sort of unwritten contract that I had made with myself. This gnawing little monster in the back of my head throughout the whole trip that said, hey, you're losing momentum. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not drawing. You're not filming, etc., etc. All of these different things. For a while, it made it difficult to just relax and enjoy this trip with my family. But fortunately, there's a silver lining in all of this. First, let's back up a little. For a few weeks this winter, the rhythm of our days changed. No sunrise alarms, no half-finished paintings waiting for me in the morning. Instead, we crossed the Atlantic to surprise my parents back in the States. The last time they saw our children, our son was 2. Our daughter was barely holding her head up. Now they run, they climb, they fight. Time doesn't pass quickly anymore. It announces itself. Living abroad has given us a lot. A different pace, a different perspective, but it comes with a cost. There are no cousins nearby, no big family gatherings, no easy overlapping lives. Sometimes I feel like I'm depriving our kids of a closeness that I took for granted. A guilt that's easy to ignore until moments like this come forward.
Merry Christmas! Oh my God! I heard a little kid and I went.
Watching my parents try to compress years of affection into a handful of days was both beautiful and quietly heartbreaking. It felt like they were meeting our kids for the first time. And all the while, time kept marching forward without even asking permission. We've all heard the old adage, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. Right? All the self-help gurus out there on the internet, the Andrew Hubermans of the world, they tell us that consistency is everything. That our momentum has to be safeguarded and protected at all costs, right? Discipline, discipline, discipline. And surely there is a time and a place for that in anything that we're setting ourselves to, that we're trying to improve on. But eventually, this can reach its limit too, right? Burnout is a real thing, right? But when you think about taking that break, you remember that last time, right? Where a few weeks turned into a month, turned into a few months, and suddenly your break in your discipline turned into a year or more of not picking up your guitar or grabbing that sketchbook or, writing those memoirs, right? So there's a fine balancing point here somewhere between staying disciplined and not letting yourself just get overwhelmed in the work. The weeks leading up to the trip were pretty hectic for me. Painting after painting, video after video, deadlines that existed purely in my head. October, November, December. The holidays make it easy to justify the momentum. But after the confetti has settled and our day-to-day routine picked back up, the rush of the holiday season seemed to come to a crashing halt after the first. You remember those stagnation times where you took those long periods of time off and how difficult it was to dust yourself off and get back on the horse and get back into that daily rhythm. It's tough, right? But the thing that nobody's talking about is that if you are the type who's disciplined and a little productive anxiety type of person, it's really easy to get so deep into our practice that we sort of lose focus of what exhaustion and burnout can really do to the result, to the product that we're producing, right? Maybe you've seen this before, right? In your own work, in your own practice. Or maybe you need somebody to point it out for you, because a second pair of eyes can be helpful sometimes. We get so into the work that we're doing that we're not realizing that we're conflating motion with progress, right? And it feels like we're working and we're doing this and we're doing that, and we feel like we're doing everything that we could be doing, but in reality, we're just kind of spinning our wheels and we're not making the progress that we could be making if we were allotting ourselves the proper rest time to sort of refresh ourselves and come back with a new perspective, right? Stepping away didn't dull my desire to create. In fact, it reminded me why I got going in the first place. Watching our children with my parents, I was struck by how quickly seasons are closing, how childhood slips forward, whether we're ready or not, how aging happens in accumulated details. Suddenly, the pressure I'd been placing on myself felt a little insignificant. Not unimportant, just improperly scaled. Creativity doesn't only happen in the studio. It can happen out there. It happens in living rooms we don't usually occupy, on couches and under blankets, in conversations that we don't record. Sometimes it happens when we let life interrupt the work. I think if I'm honest with myself, sometimes I'm the kind of person who is maybe carrying a little more than is absolutely necessary, right? I get doing one thing and I get a little sidetracked and reminded that, oh, I also have to do this other thing before I even finish the first thing that I'm working on. The old ADD kicks in, and I start carrying all of these half finished things and, unfinished drawings and projects that need editing. And, I start to get a little overwhelmed, right? Maybe you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And in this mindset, I had convinced myself that rest was a reward, right? Something earned, right? You really had to check all of the boxes off of your list to say, okay, now check one reward just for you, 5 minutes, right? And this is maybe not the best way to be productive and go about things, right? And I was just burning myself out. And maybe, again, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you just have to convince yourself, as difficult as that might be sometimes, to let go of this mindset, maybe just once in a while, and give yourself that needed time to walk away for a minute and then come back to finish things up. Not just for painters,
And I go to Steamboat and Turkish Airlines, there it is.
but for anyone trying to make something meaningful while also living a pretty full
Wow,
life.
this should kind of be the cap out to the video. Denver International Airport. That's right. Or like green or brown. Wait a sec. That's not blue or brown. They're
To Istanbul, we would like to inform all our passengers that you are at the right gate. Your gate for this flight is A41 and
When we
A43.
returned home, everything was exactly as I'd left it. Sketchbooks untouched, dry brushes, the light coming through the window at that same familiar angle. But I wasn't the same. Something had loosened. The urgency had softened a bit. I guess the thing that I'm still grappling with is that distance is always going to be a part of this family's stories. There's going to be some missed moments. There's going to be some condensed visits. There's going to be some goodbyes that feel like they come a little too quickly. But the good news is, I think, this doesn't have to be regret, right? It can turn into attentiveness, in reminding us how I need to show up both for the people that I love and also attentiveness in the work that I care about producing. As difficult as it can be sometimes, we just need to convince ourselves that not every break is a detour or a total departure from our work. Sometimes it's a fantastic opportunity to recalibrate, to come back to our work with fresh eyes and a steadier hand, right? Bottom line, if you're still watching this and you're feeling like you're spinning your wheels and you're giving it everything you've got and you're still not getting anywhere, maybe it's not the actual effort. Don't think of a break as quitting, right? It's just a chance to slow down and breathe. January isn't empty, it's spacious. And sometimes space is exactly what creativity needs to breathe again. Happy New Year to everyone out there. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.